China cries foul, US yells security. They are fighting for industrial land. Still assembling in China? Risky move. Investors won't wait. Create fake invoice trails through a dormant company in Vietnam. It would take a 500% tariff in order to reroute collapse Vietnam steel industry. 11 million fake certificates and 3 brokers were arrested in Ho Chi Minh City. Do you think that China is playing by the rules? The CCP are reaching to their favorite weapon, cheating the system. So the US just slapped a 20% tariff on all goods from Vietnam shipped to the US. And Vietnam opened up its entire market to the US tariff-free. If you think that move is in order to reduce the US trade deficit, you'd be wrong. Very, very wrong. Seriously, imposing a 20% tariff would not magically erase a huge deficit in the next 5 years, let alone in the next quarter. No, the real target of this deal is not Vietnam at all. Behind closed curtains, Vietnam and the US have made a secret pact to collapse the Chinese economy. In today's video, we're ripping the cover off the deal, showing how the custom built to derail China's economy, why Vietnam is happy to lend a crowbar, and why the CCP is as calm as a panda on a crash diet. Grab your popcorn because China is about to choke on it. So let's get started. On July 3rd, US President dropped the trade bomb. 20% tariffs on all products from Vietnam to the US, 0% on all US imports into Vietnam. And he still called the General Secretary Tô Lâm a tough but fair negotiator. So why does Vietnam, one of the top 3 abuser countries, get the sweetest deal of them all? Because that 20% cover charge doubles as a crowbar. It smashes China's favorite backdoor reroute and drives fresh orders to Vietnam's booming industrial park. And just to spike the punch, President Trump threw in a 40% tariff on Chinese products trying to sneak through Vietnam. Try to cheat the system and your supply chain will get body slammed straight out of the game. My name is Ken Duong, international business immigration attorney with over 16 years of experience helping foreign companies set up in Vietnam, including getting through the red tape, permits, and trade gymnastics. My phone melts down every time there's a trade grenade that goes off. So trust me when I say this is not about balancing books, but about weaponizing Vietnam to smack Beijing. So how do you turn a mere 20% into a supply chain chokehold? Time for a little customs kung fu. Within hours of the announcement of the Washington tariff bomb, Vietnam started Operation Clean Label. Think of it like CSI, but for customs. Inspectors rip through the manifest line by line, crash visit factories, and give a brutal 48-hour ultimatum. Clean it, fine it, or send it back. Result, thousands of containers are blocked in the first month. It proves 2 things. First, Vietnam is better at policing Chinese transshipments, better than the US could. And 2, Vietnam will do whatever it can to maintain the sweetest deal of 20% while kicking China in the ribs. When Vietnam kicks, Washington brings the steel-toed boots. Take a $100 Bluetooth speaker, add in a $5 chip from China, and under the new rule, this product gets taxed at 40%. Landing in the shelves, it would be $140. Either the brand swallows the $40 or passes on to the consumers at checkout. Somebody is screaming. Now let's zoom out. China shipped to the United States $900 billion of electronics last year. Let's just say about 5% detour through Vietnam. That's about $45 billion. And let's say half of it fails the origin test. That's a fresh $9 billion of taxes for the United States. That is a direct hit to China's already razor-thin margins. Economists are saying that this could shave about 2% of China's GDP. So naturally, Chinese exporters, supported by the CCP, are reaching to their favorite weapon, cheating the system. Do you think that China is playing by the rules? Think again. Chinese suppliers are using some of their common tricks to cheat the system and avoid tariffs. Number 1, relabeling. Workers are literally peeling off made in China labels and resticking on made in Vietnam labels. Chinese TikToks are doing step-by-step tutorials. Number 2, fake paperwork. Hong Kong freight forwarders are labeling delivery duty paid to the US, no questions asked. For a small 7% fee, they will create fake invoice trails through a dormant company in Vietnam, complete with fake VAT receipts. Number 3, minimal assembly. Half-shift products are sent to Vietnam, put on a few screws, rebox, boom, Vietnamese origin. The older rules require substantial transformation, and that's not true under the new rules, which require a 35% local value and distinct HS code shifts. Number 4, HS code misclassification. Declare LED lights as other mechanical parts, but Vietnam has connected its E-custom system to the US CBP's AI anomaly flagger. Mismatched weights and mismatched values trigger an instant hold. Number 5, island detours. Routing the products through microstates like Vanuatu before coming into Vietnam, hoping that nobody checks the first leg. Problem: the deal authorizes Washington to demand a supplier check on Tier 2 components. No paper trail, no entry. Washington responds by rotating flying squads of CBP officers to Saigon, Hai Phong, and Phnom Penh, training locals on how to spot doctored freight labels. Early raids in July seized 11 million fake certificates, and 3 brokers were arrested in Ho Chi Minh City. Headline: Customs bust tariff ninja ring. And Vietnam's next strike on how to infuriate China. But wait, if you stayed here this long and watching this video, you realize that you can't get this kind of information and analysis anywhere else. So stick to the news that matters, smash that subscribe button, and keep updated on real-world politics. All set? Good, because Vietnam is not stopping at electronics. So just 3 days after the deal, Vietnam announced a 27.83% anti-dumping duties on the hot rolled coil from China, the lifeblood of the cheap appliances and auto industry. China used to supply 72% of Vietnam's HRC imports of cheap steel in order to collapse Vietnam's steel industry. This technique the CCP used to pretty much collapse the industry in many countries. This time it's different because the domestic mills asked for protection, and they got it. Add Washington's 40% boomerang and you get a tariff banh mi stuffed with rusty nails. President Xi Jinping reportedly is not ordering seconds. Speaking of indigestion, the CCP's propaganda machine is having a full body rash. Chinese state outlets labeled the deal as hostile. Ministries lodged formal complaints, and social media censors deleted factory closures before they trended. While the official statement stuck to diplomatic language, the subtext was plain. China's view on the 20% fee and the 40% boomerang was a double-barreled assault on China's economy and survival. Most China assembly lines survive on a 2% net profit and 18-hour shifts. Take away a sliver of the demand and the roof caves in. Early signs are negative and massive. Dongguan charger plant fires 1,200 workers. Yantian port logs a 34% surge in the empty containers rerouting to Vietnam. Local Chinese government begs Beijing for a bailout. Beijing says, sell more bonds. Stress test shows that a 10% order shift to Vietnam will put 1.8 million Chinese jobs on the chopping block for the next 2 years. At the same time, industrial cities like Bắc Giang and Long An cannot pour concrete fast enough. Samsung, Foxconn, and Pegatron are pouring billions of dollars in cash for expansion activities. Yesterday's little brother Vietnam just shoved the dragon off the diving board and shouted, "Nice belly flop." Vietnam isn't just out-China-ing China. It's leapfrogging its ASEAN neighbors and regional allies. The 20% duty on Vietnam means regional repercussion that could mean that Vietnam's exports will get stronger. Thailand, slapped with 36%. The $100 gearbox could land in the US at $136. All of a sudden, Vietnam looks like a bargain. Japan and South Korea staring down 25%. Japanese headlines are saying that Vietnam is a kid that finished the test when everybody else forgot their pencils. With orders shifting fast, analysts are saying that Vietnam's exports will increase by 18% this year. Great for Vietnam's GDP. But will Vietnamese consumers see a flood of F-150s? Spoiler, don't hold your breath. You know that we like to call it like it is on this channel. Vietnam opening in its entire market to no tariffs remains to be seen. It could be a fluff to get a good deal. This could be delayed or never materialize, or they could impose taxes to replace tariffs. As much as we would love to see American cars in Vietnam, but the F-150 is a little bit too expensive for the local market, and to be perfectly honest, at that price range, there are much better Japanese and German cars. However, we would really love to see Tesla break the monopoly on the EV market. Which leads to the elephant in the duty-free room. Who actually foots the bill for this tariff circus? Tariffs don't crush factories. They rob your wallet. That 20% tariff at the port morphs in 28% at the shelves. Brands disguise it as shrink-flatting cereal boxes or bragging about eco-minimalist designs, e.g. missing a USB port. And no, 20% tariff would not lure iPhones back to the US. Midwest wages are at $22 an hour, plus taxes and operating costs. Vietnam pays $3. Economists are saying that it would take a 500% tariff in order to reroute products back to the United States. Anything less just reroutes production to the next cheap labor postal code. And yes, you, me, and any Walmart shopper is footing the bill. One yogurt shrink-flatted cup at a time. Yet, even with sticker shock, some players cash in big. So who are the winners and losers in all of this? Winners, Vietnamese factories with 70% local content. US exporters, soybean exporters, LNG, Boeing, Caterpillar. Vietnam's order list is like an Amazon wish card. Early movers, Samsung and Foxconn, are laughing at the latecomers because they are fighting for industrial land. Vietnamese logistics REITs, ports and warehouse rentals spiked 25% in a single week. The losers, label laundromat, which are micro firms branded as trading companies with glue guns. Police padlocks incoming. Pearl River Delta SMEs, whose margins evaporate at the 20% detour, equaling bankruptcy bingo. Global consumers, enjoy your shrinkflation salad dressing. $123 billion. That's Vietnam's surplus with America in 2024. The next states will decide whether that grows or shrinks. The scorecard is still updating, and the next dates on the calendar matter. We are still waiting for Vietnam to drop its high-risk components list. Lithium batteries, PCBs, and synthetic textiles all require a CCTV footage on the loading dock stored for the first 5 years. August 1st, US Customs drops its origin blacklist. Fake it and you're banned for a year. Stock prices will nosedive. Bring snacks. Q4 2025. WTO showdown. China cries foul, US yells security. The case will drag on forever, but investors won't wait. They're already betting big on Vietnam. Still assembling in China? Risky move. One tariff tweak and your cost skyrockets. After 16 years helping companies land in Vietnam, here's my tip. Windows like this don't stay open long. So what should you do before the shutter slams? Factory owners in China, quit label tourism and build legitimate Vietnamese supply chains. Sourcing managers, audit certificates now or pay later. Investors, industrial land is cheap now, pricey tomorrow. Our team lives this stuff. Setups, permits, due diligence. Need the playbook? You know where to find us. Vietnam just pulled a geopolitical economic street fight worthy of a kung fu epic. It took a 20% punch today in order to bring down a 40% sledgehammer on China every single day moving forward. If Vietnam enforces the parity rule like it says it will, China's factories will bleed clients, ASEAN neighbors will eat dust, and Vietnam graduates from the +1 to #1 in the China +1 playbook. And that deal could really collapse China's economy. But slip once and let a few dirty containers slide, then Washington's 46% kill shot rearms automatically. Vietnam knows it, China knows it. The world supply chain chessboard just got a new queen, and she's wearing a nong la and steel-toed boots. It's your call. Stay all in on China or start shifting work to Vietnam. Tell us below. We read every comment and roast the worst takes. So on behalf of Duong Global, my name is Ken Duong. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.